Go. When I started my working life as an NHS accountant, I wanted to be a costing practitioner. I worked in a small district hospital in Margate, and part of me thought if I just kept adding things up, I could work out what everything cost. To me, there was no higher task than that. What went into a patient bill? I watched what the head of management accounts did. I read this book on activity-based costing. I thought about this stuff all day long. The HFMA awards were like my FA Cup, but more than anything, I just wanted to cost stuff really well. I wanted more computers with more RAM. I wanted to quiz every directorate manager on what they did in their specialties and which doctors did the most work. I wanted to walk the whole hospital to calculate the floor plans by myself. I aimed to be the version of the costing accountant that every director of finance would want. Someone who truly understood from a bottom-up level what was the cost of each and every patient bill. That's what I thought it meant to tell the financial truth. You see, if you want to be the financial accountant, you just record all the invoices coming in and going out, add up the cash, reconcile it all, and submit the annual accounts. If you want to be the director of finance, you need to keep your eye on everything, find a good deputy, and have a decent story to tell the board, and you can be the next Julian Kelly. But when I was in my early 20s and my costing dreams were at their peak, if you wanted to be a top costing accountant, you needed computers, software, and lots of people counting and coding stuff for you. You needed money. All those things I didn't have. It was like there was a party going on and I wasn't invited. That was back in the 1990s. We still used bits of paper to do the accounts in those days. So my dream of knowing everything was probably exactly that, just a dream. So I started to think maybe this wasn't for me. Maybe I'd have to find something else to do with my life. But this was my dream. And one thing I know about dreams, to achieve them, you have to stop at nothing. So I spent 20 years chasing it down. I said yes to every hospital I could get into to get involved in their costing. The grind is not glamorous, but I could not give in. I started a sister. I worked with every crappy bit of costing software there is. I joined NHS England's costing suppliers group. I ended up with my own costing software, and we worked with more than 40 trusts across the whole of the UK. And then I sold a lot to those awfully nice people at Logix. I crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's of what it meant to be a costing practitioner. I had, in theory, achieved my dream, but it didn't feel like that. It felt like I'd fit myself into someone else's version of the dream. And I was on a beach after I sold a sister and I realised this isn't why I wanted to be a costing practitioner in the first place.
You have forgotten who you are.
It wasn't just NHS England, it wasn't the HFMA awards, it wasn't just submitting the NCC return, none of that stuff. The more time I spent chasing these things, the less time I had for real patient costing.
How can I go back?
Remember who you are.
And after I'd done the biggest deal of my career, I said screw this. And I realised I just wanted to calculate the most accurate patient bills anybody had ever done anywhere in the world. Now we live in the future. The computer in your pocket is more powerful than the ones that sent rockets to the moon. AI is changing everything. Now I can truly live my dream. So I'm looking for trusts out there who truly want to understand the cost of everything they do in a way that is meaningful to their clinicians and to their executive board members, so that costing can finally be used as the lever of change it was always meant to be. This used to be out of reach, but the tech has finally caught up. Costing is a sport, and now everyone is invited. Was that any good?